Big news. The Almanac is officially back. The most exhaustive and comprehensive guide to the 2023-24 college basketball season is available for pre-order now. If you go to cbbalmanac.com, link is in the description below, you can pre-order for just $15.99 or 20% off the sticker price. The format is going to be a little bit different this season. Instead of an 850-page PDF, you'll be getting access to the full site with league-by-league PDFs available for download. The preview will be live on September 20th, so you have until then to be able to get your pre-orders in. So for insight for all 362 Division I teams from their head coaches and the experts that cover them, make sure you hit that link.
All right, welcome back to the Field of 68. We are grading college basketball programs off seasons, and today it's good old Rocket Top. Tennessee coming off a Sweet 16 appearance last season after beating Duke. They are coming off a Sweet 16 appearance where they lost to FAU, eventual Final Four team. They are bringing back some of their biggest pieces from that run a season ago. They're bringing back Zakai Ziegler. They are bringing back Santiago Vescovi. They are bringing back Josiah Jordan-James. So lots of the big pieces from a season ago are back for Rick Barnes. Rob, I think a good place to start is, are they better? Can they be better with those three guys returning?
I think the better place to start is, did it hurt a little bit when you had to sing Rocky Top right there?
I mean, I'll do anything for $1, man. I mean, I'll holler for $1. So no, it doesn't in this context. No, I've taken off my Memphis roots are in the back. You know, I'm simply being professional right now.
That's good. That's good to hear. I think it's hard to say that they have gotten better simply because if you look at kind of what they've been over the course of the last 6 years, they've been one of the best programs in the country, right? They were top 10 in KenPom each of the last 2 years. They have been a top 15 team on KenPom in 4 of the last 6 years. They've been a top 25 team 5 of the last 6 years. They've made it to the tournament, obviously 5 of the last 6 years. So I think it's very hard to say like they are definitively better than a team that finished in the top 10 this past season. That said, I think that they have addressed the issues that they had last year. Like, it's not really a secret what they've kind of, the reputation for this program, right? They are going to guard the hell out of you. They are going to be physical. They are going to be tough. It's going to be a nightmare trying to run offense against them, and they're not going to be able to score. Like, you're going to have to, they have to win games in the 50s or the 60s because they have those issues offensively. And I think that one, getting Zakai Ziegler healthy, getting him back, which is something that they're aiming for him to be back at the start of the season. It sounds a little bit more like it might be the kind of thing where he gets worked in mid to late November and he's back to 100% by the start of SEC play. Obviously, he tore his ACL last day of February last season. So he'll be back by the time when it really matters. He'll be healthy. I think getting him back is significant. If you look at what they were last season, with him, it was the best defensive team in college basketball. It was a top 50 offense in college basketball. After he got hurt, they dropped to 16th in the country over the last 6 weeks of the season defensively, and they were outside the top 75 in offensive efficiency. So it's very clear what he brings to that program. Getting him back matters. I think that the two transfers that they brought in too are guys that we definitely need to talk about. Jordan Gainey, a 6'4" guard coming in from USC Upstate, shot at 50% from three as a freshman, dropped a little bit as a sophomore, but a career 40% three-point shooter. He's going to be a guy off the bench. And Dalton Connect, which is a great name for a shooter.
It is
6'6" wing from Northern Colorado. Really fits into what they want. And I think that part of the reason he went to Tennessee was because he wants to be able to play at a high level professionally and knows he needs to learn how to guard. Part of why Tennessee targeted him is because they need to find people that can make shots and space the floor. And that's what Dalton can do while also developing him on the defensive end. So all that said, you brought back your core guys that are your kind of culture setters, right? Josiah Jordan-James, Santiago Vescovi, and Zakai Ziegler, your culture setters, fifth-year guys, experienced guys, multi-year starters. Like, you need those guys back. You brought in pieces that I think will be able to help you where you struggled. We didn't mention Freddie Dillione, who was he redshirted the last season with them after reclassifying. really, really good scorer guy, kind of like a lead guard on the ball, bucket getter. You would probably classify him as a combo, score first combo, but I think he's going to be a guy that's an impact player off the bench for him. And then you have two big guys in Jonas Adu and Tobe Awaka that I think are both ready to take a step forward in the absence of Olivier Kamwa. So put all of that together, and I don't want to say that they're going to be better than they were last season,
Right.
but I will say that they are going to be that same kind of a team where you look up in mid-February and maybe they don't necessarily have an All-American, John, but they got a team that is going to be in the mix for an SEC regular season title.
Yeah, I think when you have this core, and what they are capable of, which they did last year, you don't really have to tinker too much. I mean, it's just an investment into those top three guys, right? Which I think is a great investment. Zakai Ziegler is a trench guy. If I'm ever in a spot where I'm in a trench, which I hope I'm not, but if I am, I want him next to me. He's just a dude who contributes. He produces. He's going to show up, and he's a gamer. He's one of my favorite players actually in college basketball, because you just turn on a Tennessee game and he's got a big steal. He's hitting a big three. Like he is a timely guy. And they need him, obviously. And you wonder, how good it could have been for them if not for the injury, to Ziegler last year. But I think if you're talking about bringing back a core of those three, you certainly feel good about your chance in the SEC. You certainly feel good about your chances of making a Sweet 16 again. So I think it's a wise move. You don't need to go, extraordinary here. You're bringing back guys that you trust, that have been in your program, that you can rely on, and you know what they do.
Yeah,
so I think it's just by
the floor is there, right? Like the floor is set with those pieces that are coming back. What they need to do, and I make this.
What I'd like to see him get a bigger name transfer, right? Like a truly proven guy that's not jumping up, a couple levels. I think that's always the concern. Yes, but again, I think you're sort of investing in what you have, and I think that's always smart.
Yeah, I always make this comparison, right? Is that if you look at what UConn did last year in the portal, they knew that they had their three guys they wanted to build around in Andre Jackson, Jordan Hawkins, and Adama Sanogo. And they went out and they got a guy at the point who's not necessarily a star, but could do his job well in Tristan Newton. They went out and they got shooters that are not necessarily stars, but could do their job well. They brought in bench pieces that knew that they would accept the roles that they were being asked to play. And you put it all together and you had a team where there is role allocation. People know what their job is. People know what the expectations are of them. And you're not swinging for the fences with the guys you get out of the portal. You're doing that with the guys that you're bringing back from your program. And I think that Tennessee did that well. Now, the criticism I would have is that they did it while losing the two pieces that I would argue were their two kind of what could have been guys in Olivier Kamwa and Julian Phillips. Olivier Kamwa transferred out of the program. He's at Michigan now. Julian Phillips was a top 15 5-star McDonald's All-American guy, ended up being a second-round pick, did not really find a way to kind of use him last year. And I think that would be the knock on this offseason if I were, as we're evaluating this, and we'll talk about it when we get to the grade section, is that if you are going to bring in these pieces that can kind of address the flaws that you had as a team, you need to be able to use those pieces properly and actually invest in the idea of trying to get better offensively, right? I think that with a guy like Kamwa and with a guy like Phillips on your roster last season, you should not have been sub 75 offensive efficiency just because Zakai Ziegler's not there, right? You had somebody in Kamwa that could space the floor as a 5-man. You had somebody in Julian Phillips that was able to do some of the lead guard initiation, kind of ISO him, take advantage of the fact that this dude's a stud. He's a pro. I think he's going to end up sticking in the league for 8 years. So you got to be able to be willing to invest in the pieces that you're going to bring in. And I'm not 100% convinced that that's something that Rick Barnes is going to do. So to me, that's kind of the X factor on this group is you got these guys. Is Rick Barnes going to use them in the way that he needs to use them to be able to get to being a top 30 team in offensive efficiency?
Exactly. All right. I think so. So that answers that. So in terms of this offseason for the Tennessee Volunteers, if you had to grade them, which you have to do, this is the segment, man. What do the Volunteers and Rick Barnes get for their offseason?
I'm going to give them a solid B. In the B minus range, I'm going to give them a B because I'm buying into the idea that these shooters that they brought in from the transfer portal are going to be able to impact the game. And I really like Freddie Dillione. So I think I'm kind of buying in that idea as well. But it would have been an A for me if you would have gotten one of Kamwa or Phillips back. And I think not having them back kind of says what you need to know about the way that Rick Barnes uses some of these offensive pieces that maybe aren't the best defender. So we'll see. Look, that's my biggest concern with this team moving forward is like if they want to run it back again and be the best defense in college basketball and be a team that can get to 65 points and know that they're going to win 90% of the time, great. I don't know if your ceiling is beyond the Sweet 16 doing that. So we'll see what that ends up being. But the floor is very, very high for Tennessee. I think they kept the floor high, and it's hard to argue with that in terms of them continuing to be relevant in the SEC.
Totally agree. We've been on the same page, I think, for almost all of these. I mean, I'm putting my grades in beforehand, and this is where we are. We have the B for Tennessee. And I think just to your point, would have liked to have seen a little bit more aggression, a little bit more aggressiveness from Rick Barnes in the offseason, whether that's, keeping Kamwa, whether that's, adding sort of a more proven scorer at the high Division I level. Because how many times, Rob, have we seen, a guy that's done it 15, 17, 19 at a lower level, he gets to the SEC, he gets to a Power 5 league where it's a lot more physical, it's a lot more demanding, a lot more athletic, game goes a lot faster, and they just aren't the same player. So while I like the numbers of Dalton Connect, I like the numbers of Gainey there from USC Upstate, there is certainly no guarantee that everything they did translates to the SEC. It's one of the toughest leagues in America, and it's the looks are going to be a lot different. The defender's going to be a lot longer, a lot faster. You're not going to have the spacing. You're going to have, you're not the guy that just gets all the shots now. So there's going to be a major learning curve, I think, for these guys. Some can do it, we've seen that before too, but it's a question mark for me. So look, love the core, love the Sweet 16 run last year, but question marks abound about the additions here. So going to give them a B, and look, it'll be up to that staff to get the most out of those guys. But overall, I think if you're a Tennessee fan there in Knoxville, you feel really good about the foundation. And if you have a foundation, you can build a home. So that is what you're trying to do, continue to do look, that's what I'm here for, man. It wasn't exactly Jim Nance. Okay.
It wasn't bad. Look, it wasn't, we're not expecting Jim Nance from you, but that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
But a B from both Rob and myself for the Tennessee Volunteers offseason as they get ready to try to build on a Sweet 16.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field68, FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.